Hello everyone, welcome to Nirog India's COVID-19 interview series called COVID Heroes. Through this series, we intend to celebrate the champions who have been helping others during the pandemic in any way possible. Today we have with us Mr. Atul Kapur. Mr. Kapur is the founder of Rasoi On Wheels, a mobile kitchen service that is providing packed meals boxes to needy amid COVID-19. Thank you, sir, for joining with us. I would now request Mr. Kapur to introduce himself and tell us more about the work that Rasoi has been doing during this pandemic.
Hello, everybody. We're actually a 4-year-old foundation. It's called Rasoi On Wheels Foundation. And while we are into food, it's not only limited to the pandemic or the COVID-19 initiative. We do this every day of our lives for the last 4 years. 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Of course, it was scaled up immensely during the pandemic and even right now. So as an organization, we are 4 years old and we feed almost 50,000 people every month.
That's great. Thank you, sir. Did the work become more challenging when the number of people increased and when there was spike in number of cases? Obviously, because no one anticipated what would happen. Right. So this thing became challenge when the magnitude increased, when number of people were increasing.
Yes, absolutely. Because, the lockdown was so sudden that even our kitchens were locked down. We were closed. The staff, some of them had gone home. But the minute the crisis became so enormous that we had to reopen the kitchens, there was a requirement on the streets. There was a requirement from calls that we were getting. We had to arrange for the staff because they were stuck, some of them in their villages, someone in their homes. Transportation was not available. We had to arrange cars and vans for them to bring them back and restart the kitchen, which was a challenge initially. And of course, to scale up suddenly from 1,000, 1,500 meals a day to 6,000, 7,000, and we had already reached a stage where we were doing 20,000 meals a day. So the scaling up, yes, was a very immense challenge. Not only in terms of manpower, in terms of, availability of rations, because the lockdown was there were no rations available, vegetables were not available. So slowly, we had to inch forward and make all these arrangements, get passes from the government for vehicles to ply. So all that was an immense challenge, but God has been kind and we managed to, overcome those challenges.
Okay, so what are your future plans, to help people to deal with this pandemic? Because it's surging day by day. And what are your future plans of Rasoi On Wheels?
We specialize in food and that is our objective. And 2 or 3 meals are needed by everybody. Future plans really just, in our case, is just, you keep producing every day, sending out every day. As much as we send out, it's less. So the future plans are really dependent on, your viewers and others in the society who need to contribute towards this. We can do our bit by providing the logistical support, but without money, nothing happens as an NGO. So, we can even scale up to 30,000 meals a day, but everything at the end of it is money. And given our limited resources, so the plans are, the idea is to feed more, but feed more can only happen once we have enough people coming forward and doing their bit. It could be 10 meals or it could be 1,000 meals. That's not important. What is important is the participation of people to, even if somebody can just afford 300 rupees, that's 10 meals, because our meals go out at about 30 to 32 rupees. So the more people that come forward, the plans are really dependent on that.
Okay, so how do you manage funds for this initiative?
It is all through people who contribute. There is a word known as CSR, which is corporate social responsibility, where a lot of corporates have come forward and have supported us immensely during this pandemic. And part of their CSR activities have been diverted here. But what we are more dependent upon is something known as ISR, which is another word for CSR, but except it's not a corporate social responsibility, it's an individual social responsibility. So individuals are coming forward, contributing 50 meals, 100 meals, 10, 20 meals. So that all comes into our foundation accounts. We are a registered NGO. And from those funds, we are able to procure rations. A lot of people have come forward and donated rations and stuff like that, which is all used to cook the meals. Our kitchens start at 4 o'clock in the morning, and the meals start leaving at about 9 o'clock, 8:39. So we have two batches. One goes in the morning, one goes towards the evening. So we do rice, dal, roti, sabzi, chawals, stuff like that.
Oh, that's great. So tell us about Donate a Meal initiative. What exactly Donate a Meal is?
Well, it's like what we call each one feeds one. You know, even if one person says, okay, from my side, I can afford, only 500 rupees. It all counts. That's that's literally in 30 rupees, that's about close to 15, 16 people can be fed. So when we have to reach a target of 10,000 people, so donate a meal concept is one where, you just, because we run in two parallels. In one way, we send out meals to people. There are a lot of corporates who say, can you send us the meals? So our meals go along with our logistics team. We have volunteers on the ground who go forward and, help them distribute these meals to their workers outside their factories and their localities. And the second vertical that we really work upon is where people contribute into the common pool fund and say, okay, 50 meals from my side, 100 meals from my side, 3,100 rupees. So that all goes into a common pool in which when our vans drive around, we've got Rasoi On Wheels vans, which are driving around and they just distribute food on, pre-designated areas, which are slums, orphanages, near old age homes, outside hospitals, under flyovers. I mean, unfortunately for our country, there's hungry people on the streets everywhere.
Of
So
course, yeah,
distribution
indeed.
is the least.
Yeah. How many free meals has the organization provided so far? And like, how many people have been benefited from this initiative?
Remember, maybe about 10 lakh plus meals were done during that initial lockdown period. And if we were doing ration kits, because more than the meal requirement, there was also a requirement for ration kits. So we must have distributed over 4,000, 5,000 ration kits. Each kit was good enough for a family of four for up to a week, 10 days. So we were making these ration kits and of course food, because there were a lot of places and homes where they had the provisions to cook. I mean, the kitchens were there, but they didn't have rations. So we would make these ration kits, which was, a few kilos of dal, some sugar, atta, rice, salt, tea leaves, and these ration kits were provided to them. So it's run into lakhs in terms of meals.
That's great. So the last question to you is like currently Rasoi is helping less privileged people who are living in Delhi. And is there any further plans to make it a pan-India thing? Delhi and Gurgaon, yeah, adjacent
I'm
areas.
sorry.
So Delhi and Gurgaon and other adjacent areas, you must be knowing. So is there any further plan to make it a pan-India thing?
Well, ma'am, with Pan India, yes, we don't really have plans at the moment because we are limited in terms of our kitchen size. But yes, if there are other organizations who'd like to, come forward, or individuals who say, okay, I'm in Bangalore or I'm in Mumbai, can I join hands with Rasoi On Wheels? So we'll be more than happy to, have them work with us in conjunction where they have their own kitchen, and we work together and say, okay, Rasoi On Wheels is now in Mumbai, and let people start doing the same service over there with local people. So that's the only way, because the quantum of food required has no end. So for example, if you say in Bangalore, I'd like to have I have a kitchen, maybe you don't need a fancy kitchen, but you just need the dedication. You can't just do it, I'll do it today and not tomorrow. If you're willing to do a few hundred meals every day, yes, we're willing to partner with people like you and take it forward to, tier 2 towns, to cities, to wherever the requirement is. The criteria being the dedication and ensuring the quality. What we really emphasize upon is neat, clean, hygienic, and tasty food. We don't want our biggest objective and our biggest success has been the word dignity and pride. When you're feeding somebody, give them food that is tasty. It's food that you and I may eat. You don't just throw food at them and say, okay, eat. So our boxes and packages are very neatly packaged. They have a spoon in them. So somebody who gets it is eating with that dignity and pride and feels like he's getting food and not, being thrown food at. So that is being a critical part of whoever we may partner with in the future, to ensure that the ethos which Rasoi On Wheels Foundation is built upon is carried through.
No, of course, you're being persistent on the factors like hygiene, and that's great because ultimately that matters a lot. And thank you, sir, for the interview. It was great talking to you and understanding the work your organization is doing. If you know of any of the individual, a group of individuals, or any organization doing welfare work in your area and would like to get featured in our interview series, please reach out to us on the mail ID below given on the screen. Thank you.